I know it's a mess right now, but I got both doors on by myself. They're pretty hefty. I rebuilt the top hinges on both sides with new bushings and pins. I've sort of been working on doing a door swap and a power window swap and stuff, and the car never had power windows originally. It had crank windows. Going up. Well, I got the door off again. And the top hinge is all sloppy. There's slop in the bottom pin and the top pin. The top one is actually pressed with rivets, so they have to be grinded off. I figured there's no way I was going to get a grinder in there without damaging something. So I took a drill and I tried to get over the top of it, which it looks like you can, but I had to go on a little bit of an angle. So I hollowed it out past the head, and then I took just different size drill bits and opened it up a bit, and a chisel and a hammer, and I mangled it, but I think it's ready. The head's pretty much gone now, so I should be able to punch it down through now. Okay, I hit it a couple times with the punch and it just fell straight out, and now I got the bottom pin. It's gonna be, I think it might be harder to get at because you got to get it from underneath here, and then there's this stuff in the way. Dorman 38401. Applications: Camaro Firebird models 92 to 82. I'd say 82 to 92, but whatever. So this is the hinge pin and bushing kit for one door. And these are the pins that I had to drill them out, and then I had to squish the head and cut it off with a chisel, punch it out with a punch. And these, they're not really serviceable. It's a pain in the butt getting the old ones out, but the new ones have nuts. It comes with one door, so it comes with pins for the upper hinge and one big pin for the lower hinge. And look at the difference in the bushings. The lower bushings are pretty small in comparison to the upper. It's a pretty heavy door, pretty big doors. So I got the pins knocked out, and this will just come off now. And the bushings are so worn out in these doors. They're so worn that they'll just come out like that. Oh, it's a little bit broken, probably because I was hammering on it as well. So there's the old bushing, and the new one might be oversized. It's not really tight in there, but should be okay. Well, there we go. I put the new bushings in, pins, and she's a lot tighter now. I don't see any slop in it now. It's a lot better now. There's no slop in it at all. The bottom one, I tried punching it out, but I sprayed it with lubricant and I punched it, but I think it seized in there, and it's not sloppy. The bottom one's actually kind of, it's not bad, it's kind of good. So I'm just gonna half-ass it, and I'm just gonna leave that one as is. This one was the sloppy one, and it's all better now. These doors don't have any business being on a car. Holy shit, they're heavy. Oh my goodness. Don't fall off the jack. Don't fall off the jack. Don't fall off the jack. Woo! Oh my goodness. Well, I've had the door off of there twice, or I had to take it off a second time to redo the hinge, but seems better now. The top hinge wasn't easy. It took several hours. It would have been a lot easier if they weren't like the rivet type. If they're just normal pins and bushings, then they're a lot faster, a lot easier. But the door's back on. She's gonna need a little bit of work, but yeah, she's on there. This outer weather strip needs to be replaced. I've replaced these before on the 85, on the first one, first Firebird project. So I can fix that. There's a door seal here. It's this big soft chunk, and it wraps all the way around the bottom of the door and around. This door seal is in good shape. This is the original one. So I'm gonna need that because these doors, they don't have any. It would go here and it would wrap all the way around, but these doors they didn't come with any, or somebody's previously removed them. So I'll have to put the seals on here. I don't have the key for these doors, so I'll have to take the lock out of my original door, put it in here. I'm going to require a power window switch because the car I'm working on never had power windows, and the motors work, so I might as well keep them, I guess. I figure it should be easy to install a switch, and I found a couple. This is from a 92 S10 Blazer, and this is from the 95 Firebird. And I like this one better because it's a little more classic and flush mount. Back then everything was just flush and square and simple. And the wiring is very similar. Being that these are from GM, it's going to be quite simple. So you got 2 in for power and 2 out for each motor. I haven't put the passenger door on yet. Okay, I got the new pins in the top hinge. Seems like the top hinge wears out first because there's so much weight on it, but yeah, they're really heavy doors. I rebuilt the top hinge. Call me lazy or crazy, but I'm not going to do the bottom ones because they don't need to be done. So yeah, I think this one's ready. Here in the car I've got a lot of stuff taken apart. The top hinge has 3 bolts right there, and I have no problem using this 13 mil ratchet wrench and getting in there and getting all 3 of them like that. On the bottom there's supposed to be 3 as well, but it appears that there's only 2 here. On the driver's side there was 2 going in from in here, so you can see that right out front, but in behind the pin there's supposed to be a 3rd one, but it looks like somebody's removed it and just never put it back in. That's the same thing I'm gonna do on the driver's side. I'm just gonna have 2 down here. They're actually a 15 millimeter. They're actually a bigger bolt in the top for some reason or another, so you can get them in here if you take the kick pad off. So I'll go ahead and I'll leave 1 in the bottom and I'll leave 1 in the top until I'm ready to drop the door. And I might mark the location of the hinges so it make it easier to line up or to get a baseline for alignment later on with the replacement door. The 3rd bolt that's actually missing, or that was neglected to be put back in, I planned on doing that for a reason. I was going to leave 1 out also because the 3rd one is really difficult to get at. So these 2, they go in from the inside, but the 3rd one goes from the outside in front of the pin, so it's more closer to the fender. And if you had the fender off, it might be easy to get at, but if you don't have the fender off, you got to stick like a 1/4 inch ratchet in there. It was really tight. It was hard. I got it, but it was tricky, and I had to close the door about halfway or just to get room in there to work. So that's probably why there's only 2 bolts here. And like I said, I'm going to do the same thing because these bolts are bigger and stronger than the top ones. These are 15 millimeter. It's a bigger bolt. So here's one from the top. There's 3 of these in the top, and there's 2 of these in the bottom, and I think 2 of those in the bottom is plenty enough. 1983. This section to remain was car. This section to be attached to repair order. I wonder if this car was not repaired. I know it was painted. When it was fairly new. It had a 2nd paint job. You can see evidence around the edges where it was repainted. Oh my goodness. She's a little bit ratty and scratched up, and the gap, this front gap, I don't really like it, so I'm gonna have to dial it in a bit, but I think maybe move the whole door ahead a bit. There's a little bit of adjustment in the hinges, but I got them both on. That's the passenger side. And that's the driver's side. I know it's a mess right now, but I got both doors on by myself. They're pretty hefty. I rebuilt the top hinges on both sides with new bushings and pins, and figured out how to get those rubber boots in. They go in from the inside, and you can put the whole thing in from the inside as long as there's no wires there. So I put the boot in first, and then I put the wires through. And I'm only running 2 wires right now, and I know it's a mess right now, but I put a window switch here for now. I think I might leave it there. Into the original, there used to be a rear window defrost there, so I think I'll just put the window switch there. So the defrost has 5 or 6 terminals there, and I found a live wire and a ground. So I went ahead and put some spade connectors and just plugged them into the factory defrost, rear defrost plug. So when I turn the key on, nothing's happening there right now, but when I turn the key on, but yeah, it works. Down, up. It's a little bit slow. Maybe my battery's low, but I haven't seen a 3rd gen yet that doesn't have slow windows. I think they all do. So that's not bad. At least it works. So I got to do the passenger side now. It's going to be relatively easy. I think I've already got the boot in, and the wires are here. So I just got to run some wires here, and then both of the windows should be working. Oh, there, popped right in. Nice. And there's one more rubber grommet that has to pop into the cabin here. Okay, test out my new window switch. Down on the passenger side. Up on the passenger side. Hey, that's cool. Try the driver's side. I already know the driver's side works. I already know it works, but I have to show you. Driver's side seems a little bit slower than the passenger side. But like I said, I haven't seen a 3rd gen that didn't have slow windows. The glass probably weighs, I don't know, it's a massive piece of glass, and it's a massive door. And just mounting the doors by myself was an achievement by itself, because they're probably 100 and I don't even know, maybe 100 or 150 pounds each. They're pretty heavy doors. So windows are working. The wiring was way too easy because I just utilized the plug-in for the factory rear defrost. So yeah, that was pretty easy. I just found a live wire that comes on and off with the key switch, and there was a ground there as well. Just ran a couple wires out to the doors. Bada bing, bada boom.